Hey everyone, so today we're going to be looking at how to rig a character inside of 3ds Max. Now, following a bit of YouTube tutorials, I've been looking around a lot and I haven't found a really good tutorial to how to rig any kind of character you want. So for an example here we have a very generic model, a very simple model, and technically that's the first rule of rigging. When you're first learning how to rig a character, don't go for overzealous characters such as very big in the chest or a creature or an alien or something like that. Try to make it as humanoid as possible and try to have something that's simple. So for an example, this is a pretty simple character just because every single sphere kind of indicates where the joints will be for the character movement, such as the neck, the elbows, right? And you have the knees. So that will actually help you get a better idea of where the bones are supposed to link or where the bones are supposed to stop. All right, that's number one. Two, we have to understand a few things about how to rig a character, which is why do we do them in T pose or why do we do them in A pose, meaning modeling wise. Why do we have separate layers for every single element? What do we do? How do we start by tackling an actual rig? So this tutorial will go over all of this, and most likely there'll be a part two. So part one will be pretty much how to create the bones, how to link them together, how to create the constraints, and all of those little things that go together. And the second part will be how to skin a character, meaning linking the bone to the actual mesh of the object. That way, the hand, the arm, the body will move along with when you're animating an actual bone or a controller. So, uh, for the past 4 years or 5 years, I've been working on characters, and I've been following this amazing technique by Sony Kumari, who gives you a very detailed explanation of how a rig is supposed to happen. And I've been following it along for 5 years, and I still love this technique because it's very versatile for any character you want to rig. You just have to change a little bit of the bone structures, maybe if it's a bit of an alien character or a big character or a smaller character like a child. So just the bone deformities change a little bit, and that should be okay. So here I have my generic model. This will be linked in the description for you guys. It comes from Mixamo. It's free, so you can just download this model. It doesn't come with any animations. So let me start here first by creating a few layers. Now, this tutorial will be a bit more advanced, so if you're still beginner in 3ds Max, it might be a bit difficult for you to understand what's happening. If you are a beginner, please send me a comment. Tell me, perhaps we are kind of beginners. We would like to have a bit more of a tutorial on how to start with 3ds Max, maybe a tutorial on how to create characters, and I'll definitely oblige by it. So let's start here by rigging. My first step is that I need to freeze this character so I don't actually move it while I'm rigging. Next thing you have to understand is that this character has to be perfectly centered in the middle. Alright, so the pivot point has to be on the bottom feet, right in the center of the character. Alright, and the character has to be perfectly fixated at 0, 0, 0, X, Y, and Z. Alright, that's number one. Two, I would like to actually create a few layers. So here I have my layer system. I need to create a few layers. So what I'm going to do is go to here, create one, two, sorry, you need to actually deselect this. So I got one, deselect, two, deselect, three, and four. My first one will be my mesh. Naming convention inside of creating a rig and inside of this file will be very important for you guys, so please keep in mind. Bones, and I need a helper there. So basically helpers will connect the bones to a helper to a controller. The controller you will be able to animate. The helper is just basically a buffer between the bones and the controller. You should never animate bones straight up, because if something happens to the bones, if you can't fix it, you actually, there's a term called breaking the bone, meaning you're actually breaking the Euler rotation of that bone, and it's very dangerous. So helpers are kind of a buffer. If you mess up the animation, if you mess up something in your rig, you can delete the helpers, you can delete the controllers, and everything will snap back into place. Because recreating the bones will be a very lengthy process. You don't want that to happen. So I have my helper, and my last one will be my controller. Perfect. So that's the first step. Next, we need to freeze this character, and we need to make it transparent so we can be able to see the bones through the mesh. So right click, object properties, opens up this panel. I need to freeze it right here. I need to also show frozen in gray, has to be completely off so it doesn't become gray, and I want it to go see-through. Alright, and say okay. So now my character is unclickable and completely invisible. Alright, perfect. So just give me 1 second here. I seem to have a small problem with my, where is it? Alright, Control 4. There we go, perfect. Now I can just zoom in, zoom out so you can have a better understanding of what's happening. So I need to get my toolbars. So I need to get my bone structure, so rendering, animation, and I go to bone tools, and I keep this panel open. Alright? So the reason why, first of all, we create a model in T-pose or in A-pose, that's because when we create the bones, and if the arms are actually sticking on the body, and you create the bones, and you rig everything, and you're happy with it, once you actually create the skin for that character, and you move the arm upwards, this part of the body will actually stick to it. And it will be a very lengthy process for you guys to fix it. So we create a T-pose or an A-pose, which is around here, on the character. That way, when we rig and we finish the rig and we skin the character, we won't have these deformities that will take us a very long time to fix. Alright, so keep that in mind. Always T-pose or A-pose is fine. Never have the character sticking their legs together or having it in a specific pose. Alright? If you're doing it for production value, that's fine. If it's just going to be rendered, that's fine. But if it's actually going to be animated, you don't want that to happen. So let's start here. I'm going to start with my left view. Create bone, click, and I'm just going to drag one all the way down. Actually, let me increase the size of my bone. So I have a create bone here. Let me make sure it's around 2 centimeters, 2 centimeters, that's fine. Let me see the size. Perfect. So I'm going to go right here. Center, go all the way down to this point. To the end, once you click here, you right click to end the bone. This little icon right here is basically the end of the bone, and it's very important for you guys to have that little piece at the end. Now, my bone is in the middle, so I'm gonna double click it. When I double click on this bone, basically, it tells me that these bones are linked one another by a parent-child relationship, meaning that this bone is the child of this parent, this child is the parent, this is the parent of that child, same for this one, and same for this one. So when I double click on the first bone, it will tell me that all of these are linked together, and this is the master parent, basically. So just move it into place. What I'm looking for here is just an overall correct position of the bone. So for an example, this one is not technically positioned well, so you cannot click on it and move it. This will move everything together, which is very bad. I want to move bone edit mode and move this on its own, just like that. Okay, it's very important. Next, I look at the knee. The knee is pretty good. Here, it's a little bit off. I want to just move it a bit to the left. Great. Perfect. Now I'm going to remove bone edit mode, grab this bone, and I'm going to mirror them to the other side. So X, move it to the other side. Let me just make sure this lands perfectly. It doesn't have to be exactly symmetrical, just get it as close as you can. Excuse me. You can definitely do it very symmetrical, but I'd rather not. Like, just have a bit of deformities, that's okay. So just get it as close as you can to where it was on the other side. Perfect. Alright. Now comes the really annoying part, and I need to do this immediately. I highly recommend that when you're trying to name the bones, you do it correctly with the same naming convention, and you do it with a rename object tool. So this is found in tools, so right here. So sorry, tools, there we go, all the way down to rename object, okay? And this will open this panel. Perfect. Now, this is, so you have to look at it from the back of the character. This is my right side, this is the left side. So you have to take the right and the left according to the character's right and left, alright, not from your view. So that's very important. So this is my left view, this is my right view. So I'm going to take these bones, I'm going to base name bn underscore right, so r underscore. Alright, I'm going to rename all these bones. So click rename. Perfect. And I'm going to go one by one. So this one is going to be my leg. Click on this one. This is going to be my knee. This is going to be my foot. Whoops, excuse me. My foot, there we go. This is going to be my toe. And the final end piece is going to be the bone right underscore leg underscore end. Alright? Great. We do the same exact thing with the other one. So I'm going to select all of them. I'm going to change this to left underscore rename. Grab this bone underscore left. This is going to be my leg. It's going to be my knee. So this might take a bit of time. If it does, I'm going to create a 2-part rigging animation and a 1-part skinning animation. Tutorial, sorry. Alright, so bone left foot, and this is going to be the toe, and the left leg, underscore, and keep it very consistent, guys. Next, I want to color code these, meaning I want my left to be, all my bones on the left to be a color, all the bones on the right to be a specific color. Alright, so I'm going to grab these. I'm going to go to my bone tool, start color. I'm going to take a pure green. So make sure everything is pure green right here. Green, green, great. Say OK, and apply gradient. So basically the strongest green color will be the first parent, and the last one will be the end child, which is going to be white. It goes from a green color right here to a white color. I'm going to do the same with the other side, but instead of green, we're going to make it blue. So let's go for a blue here. Pure blue. Doesn't really matter, I just prefer blue. There we go. Great. Next, we're going to do the hip bone, the spine root bone, the entire spine, the neck, and the head all together. Okay? Just give me 1 second here. Just checking something off the settings. Alright, fantastic. So, we're going to go for the spine. Create bone, take my left view. Great. So, hip first, so you go 1 down, straight down. Click, and right click. Right? So that's my spine bone. Oh, sorry, my hip bone. My root is going to go from here up 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to the neck. That's going to be my chest bone. This is my neck bone, and then I go all the way to the middle of the head, click, and right click. Alright, so it's going to be my entire spine right here. So you have the the root right here. So let me remove create bone. That's my root. So it's going to control the entire body technically. Right? I have my hip bone right next to it. Root, spine 1, spine 2, my chest bone, my neck bone, and my head bone. Alright? So they are perfectly centered. Fantastic. Alright. So now I want to align a small little thing here. I have my root bone right here. I want to align it to here. So I'm going to go Alt A, click, X, Y position. I want the Z first. Let me see it. Oh, excuse me. Alt A. There we go. Perfect. So I want this bone just to be on the same plane as the Z field. And you can actually also align it by the Y. So X and Y. There we go. Not the X. Perfect. So now it's exactly where I want it to be. And I have my hip bone right here. Next, we're going to create the arm bones. So first of all, I need to rename all of these. So this is going to be BN underscore hip. This one will be, oh sorry, I forgot the actual end bone here. So BN underscore hip underscore end. I would like this one to be the root bone, so BN underscore. Well, actually, we can just take this entire piece, say BN here, underscore rename, and just take this one, BN root master, because it's basically the main bone of the entire body. This is going to be spine 01. This is going to be spine 02. It's going to be bone chest, neck, head, and then bone body underscore end. Alright? So now we have all of this. I need to create 2 bones here for the clavicles. I need to create the arms, and then we're going to do the fingers. So I'm sorry if I'm going to move a bit faster because I don't want this video to take too long for you guys, but you can slow it down with the settings, no problem. You can repeat as much as you want of the actual tutorial. So let's start with the clavicles. I need to look at the front view, create a bone right here, click from here all the way here, and right click. Next, I'm going to do an alignment right here. So I want this bone to be aligned with this bone. So X, Y, and Z. Great. Take this bone, bone edit mode, and I want this bone to be right in the middle right here of the actual shoulder. Alright, so it's going to be my first clavicle. Next, I'm going to be creating a bone. So remove bone, edit mode, create bone. Go to my top view. Go all the way here. One. Click. Click. Go all the way to the middle, in between the webs of the fingers right here. And click, right click. Alright, so that's my arm. Perfect. Let me just make sure they're all aligned. So what I'm looking for here is basically the joints. I'm just making sure they are set, aligned. Great. Perfect. Let's do the same for the other side, or we can just mirror this entire side, but I prefer creating it from scratch. So let's just take this bone right here. Took everything, so I'm just going to mirror this actually. Let's just see if it's going to mirror perfectly. Wow, it actually did. Fantastic. That was lucky. It is perfectly centered. Everything is exactly the same. Fantastic. Now, time to name them. So we're going to select this entire section. Bone underscore. Actually, this is which piece? This is the left piece. So bone underscore left. Rename it all. This one will be the bone left underscore. I forgot the underscore. It's my fault. So right here, underscore. Rename. Click. Clavicle. And this is going to be the clavicle end. So clavicle underscore end. Perfect. Then double click on these. Sorry, just click on this. Arm. Elbow. Hand. And this is going to be the arm underscore end. Do exactly the same for the other side. So grab everything. Right underscore rename. So this is also my clavicle. My clavicle end. Underscore end. Perfect. Grab this one. Arm. Elbow. Hand and the arm and bone. Don't forget these. Underscore end. Great. So we rename these. Everything's good. Perfect. Now to color code them. So I'm going to grab this. This is my blue side. So start color right here. Keep these tabs open. They're actually very helpful instead of closing them and reopen them after all. So perfect. Apply gradient. Next is going to be a green color. Pure green. Apply gradient. And for my entire spine, I'm going to make it red just to keep it as a highlight so I don't have a gray on gray thing happening here. Apply gradient. And my hip bone, I'm going to make it yellow. Say okay. Apply gradient. Fantastic. We have all the bones except the fingers. So let's go for the fingers now. This is going to be a little bit annoying. It's going to be time consuming basically, but it's fine. Create bone. I'm going to go 1. Okay, they're very big, so that's not very good. We're going to go 1 centimeter right here in my parameters. Perfect. 1, 2, 3, close. 1, 2, 3, close. Close. 1, 2, 3, and close. For my thumb, 1, 2, 3, click and close. Great. So now, since they were not linked to any other bones, they're going to be on the bottom. That's perfectly fine. So what we're going to do is grab all of them. Excuse me. There we go. All of them. And drag them up using the left view. Sorry, the front view right here. Great. So we're going to deal with the thumb in a bit. I just want to make sure that these are aligned correctly. Alright. I have a few bones that are misaligned right here. This one's a little bit too low. So what I'm looking for is that the end bones are actually on the tip of the finger and not on the bottom of the finger. So what we want here is to grab this, lift it up a little bit. Great. This one is correct. This one is not. And this one is correct. Great. Now for the thumb. So we have to position the thumb in a certain way. Right? So what I'm going to do here is go to my rotate tool by pressing E, making sure that my view is on a local axis, so I can rotate the bones this way. Great. And now we're going to go bone edit mode, grab this little end piece and move it, local view as well. downwards, all the way to the tip of the actual thumb. Great, make sure it's centered, so try to center it as best you can right here. Great. This one's a bit too far, so we're gonna go down all the way to the actual joint of it. Same here. And this one is actually a little bit backwards, so let's just move it forwards a bit and drop it down until it's in the center of that bone. This one as well. Great. Now we have proper fingers. So I'm going to grab all of these. Remove this bone, and I'm just going to mirror them to the other side. Say okay. And I'm going to move them all the way. Oop. Sorry, I have bone edit mode on. This is very bad. So don't actually have that on when you're mirroring. And that will happen. Alright, so let's grab each one on its own. Let's make sure my view is actually correct. So that was my mistake. There we go. And align them best you can. So some artists prefer linking the bones and then mirroring them. I prefer not, because sometimes I've had this issue where it will actually break the bone as I'm mirroring, and that doesn't make me very happy because I have to restart pretty much everything. So I highly advise you guys not to link any bones together until all of the structure is done. So now I'm able to link, for an example. I'm done with all my bones. So that's great. So let me just save this. So first step, grab the first parents of every single finger right here, link right here. So just make sure this is the tool you're using. Select a link, grab, and I'm gonna link them all the way to the center of the hand of this bone. Great. Let's do the same on the other side. Click, control, click for multiple bones, not this one. I need the finger ones. There we go. Click on my link tool all the way to the hand, and that's done. Next, I'm gonna select my clavicles, 1, 2, link to the chest bone. Fantastic. And we'll do the legs in a bit. I just want to make sure the IKs are correct. So now we have to do the lengthy process of renaming these bones. So I'm going to grab all of them. Actually, preferably no. Let's just grab this one. Bone, this is my left view. Left underscore thumb. And what I'm going to do here is click on the numbered panel right here. So let me zoom in for you guys. Here we go. So numbered, base number, I'm going to change it to 1. To a 1. That way I get, instead of having a thumb 0, I get a thumb 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. So it starts at actual 1. Perfect. So now rename all of these, and I'm going to go thumb 1, 0, 1, perfect. And this one is going to be my underscore end. Fantastic. Alright, now this one, same thing. Bone left index. Rename, grab this bottom one, change it to underscore end. Sorry, I'm a little bit OCD that way. It's going to be capital. Perfect. This is my middle finger. Rename. Grab this one and end. Same here. This is going to be my ring finger. Sorry. Ring finger. Rename. Grab the actual endpoint. Underscore end. And again, I messed up. There we go. And it's going to be the pinky. And underscore end. And I'm going to make sure all of these have the same color as the blue. So a successful rig is basically when everything is being consistent, and when a person opens your file, so when you have actual artists opening your file and checking out your work, you're able to show every single organization parameter, so all the layers are set up for them. All of the naming convention is there. They know which bone does what. So that's very important, especially when it comes to the controllers. So you don't want the actual artist to open up your file and not know what controller does what and what it handles. Alright, so this is extremely important. It takes a very long time to get used to this, but once you get it done, a few more times you do it, you're going to get used to it, and it's going to be perfect for you guys. And trust me, other artists, if you work in a company, if you work with people that will use this file, they will appreciate what you're doing. Alright, so that's the first step. Next, same thing here. Start with the pinky here. This is my right view. Rename. This is my ring.